It's a cruel world. Ever since I was a kid, I knew the truth. This place never welcomed me. Don't get me wrong. I was lucky enough to be born, and I still believe there will be a moment when I can help someone. At least I hope so. With these words, Yuya reflects on his life, a life marked by rejection, loneliness, and the faintest glimmer of hope. Yuya is a young boy whose appearance doesn't fit society's standard of beauty. He is overweight, tall, and looks older than his age. Because of this, he faces constant discrimination from everyone, including his own parents. Yuya has two siblings who are the opposite of him. They are attractive and admired, further highlighting his isolation. As a child, Yuya quickly realized that the world wasn't kind to people like him. He had no friends and no one who loved him. Despite this, he held on to the hope that one day, he could help someone in need. The story begins with Yuya walking alone. As he reflects on his life, he hears a voice nearby. Curious, he searches for the source and discovers a young girl, Corey, being cornered by three older men. The men are pressuring Corey to join them for tea, but she refuses and asks to be left alone. They persist, ignoring her protests. They only laugh and continue harassing her. Yuya hesitates but remembers his belief that one day someone might need his help. Summoning his courage, he decides to step in. Although Yuya isn't confident, he approaches the men and tells them to leave Corey alone, pointing out that she clearly isn't interested. The men mock him, questioning where he got the nerve to speak up, and then they turn on him. They beat Yuya mercilessly, leaving him bloodied and barely conscious in front of Corey. Corey feels terrible as she watches him collapse. Just then, the police arrives and the men, fearing consequences, flee the scene. Corey rushes to Yuya's side, asking if he needs to go to the hospital. Yuya weakly insists that he's fine and says this isn't the first time he's experienced such treatment. He walks home alone, arriving at the house left to him by his late grandfather. As he steps inside, he recalls his grandfather's words, "No matter how difficult life gets, always seize the chance to show kindness to others because that's where true happiness lies." Yuya gazes at his grandfather's portrait, the only source of comfort in his lonely life. From elementary school to middle school, Yuya has faced relentless bullying. Even at home, his siblings treat him like an outcast, and his mother won't let him wash his clothes with theirs. The only person who ever showed Yuya kindness was his grandfather, who taught him life lessons and provided a sense of love and belonging. When his grandfather passed away, Yuya was devastated. He remembers crying beside his grandfather's body, knowing his life would only get harder from that moment on. Despite his parents' attempts to take his inheritance, Yuya's grandfather had ensured the property and assets were legally protected. Angry and defeated, Yuya's parents disowned him. Since then, he has lived alone in his grandfather's house, working part-time to support himself. Although he has endured so much, Yuya remains hopeful that graduating middle school will mark the end of his bullying. On graduation day, Yuya attends the ceremony and receives his yearbook. While others flip through theirs with joy, Yuya's page is filled with cruel insults like fatty and ugly. Holding back tears, he leaves the school, but on his way home, his bullies catch up with him. One of them strikes him on the back, causing him to fall. They taunt him, saying graduation won't free him from their torment. Even his siblings watch from a distance, doing nothing to help. By the time Yuya arrives at work, he is late, and his boss is furious. Despite Yuya's attempt to explain, his boss fires him on the spot. Defeated, Yuya walks home and eats a cup of instant noodles. As he looks at himself in the mirror, frustration boils over. He punches the mirror, wondering why his life never changes. His hand bleeds but he doesn't care. He punches the wall in anger, only to discover a hidden door. Behind the hidden door, Yuya finds a secret room filled with strange artifacts. He realizes this must be where his grandfather stored items from his travels. Among the artifacts, a peculiar door catches his attention. Curious, Yuya opens the door, and a notification suddenly appears. The system informs him that he has acquired several skills, including appraisal, endurance, and language comprehension. It also grants him titles such as Master of the Door, Master of the House, and First-Time Traveler to a Different World. Intrigued, Yuya clicks on the First-Time Traveler title, which explains that the door connects to another world. No one knows why the door appeared, but its destination is fixed once it connects to a world. The system also informs Yuya that the door cannot be destroyed, and only its master can access its features. Yuya explores the system further and discovers new skills and options, such as asset conversion, transfer, and restriction. When he checks his stats, he's disheartened to see they are at level 0, with no significant abilities. Peering through the window, he confirms he is no longer in the same world. He notices a letter on the table, but it's written in a language he doesn't understand. The system grants him the language comprehension skill, allowing him to read the letter. The letter reveals that the house belonged to a sage, who left it to whoever discovered it first. The new owner of the house, Yuya, can now control and use everything on the property, which is protected by powerful magic. Yuya explores the house and discovers a collection of weapons. He picks up a sword called Ominous Edge and tries to train with it, but quickly stumbles. Despite his clumsiness, the system grants him the skill of swordsmanship. Yuya continues to experiment with other weapons, including the Absolute Spear and Death Scythe, each time gaining new skills. After training with all the weapons, the system rewards him with the true martial arts skill. As Yuya reflects on his progress, a sudden noise interrupts him. A massive bloody ogre appears outside the property, roaring and attempting to break through the magical barrier. Yuya panics, but remembers the house's magic protects him. The ogre's relentless noise drives Yuya to take action. He grabs the spear and throws it at the ogre, killing it instantly. The ogre's body vanishes, leaving behind items like a magic stone, ogre fangs, and a special gauntlet. Yuya is shocked to see his level skyrocket, and the system allows him to allocate new points to his stats. As he prepares to return to his world, the system converts the items he collected into cash, 1.5 million yen. Yuya is astonished but grateful, realizing he can now use this money in his everyday life. Later that night, Yuya goes through a change in his body as it completely transforms. The next day, Yuya wakes up feeling strange. His body has completely transformed. He is lean, strong, and unrecognizable. His old clothes no longer fit. He's not sure what is going on, and his mirror is still broken, so he decides to look for some clothes. There are magical clothes in the sage's house, which freely adjust in size and provide a range of magical bonuses. Yuya wonders about the identity of the sage, and he looks around his garden. He is suddenly attacked by a level 200 slime monster, but this time, Yuya calmly brings out his spear and easily destroys the monster. It drops some coffee slime and even a rare necklace, which has the ability to restore his magic power. He levels up again, gaining a presence detection skill, and he is already at level 150. He tries some of the coffee slime and it's actually so yummy. He decides to use some of the money he has made to buy a new uniform, ordering it to be ready for the start of high school. After that, he spent every day in the other world and he starts to enjoy himself, even forgetting his depression. He would train and learn as much as possible about the other world. An elite goblin attacks his house, but Yuya has become completely different, skillfully fighting against it and even using a skill to destroy the goblin. Time moves and the start of high school arrives and everyone is immediately drawn by him, even his siblings. In class, he is approached by his bullies, but they don't recognize him, thinking he is a transfer student. When he tells them he is Yuya, everyone is shocked and they don't believe him. Even his siblings are shocked and jealous of his new appearance. Confused by everyone's reaction, Yuya runs to the bathroom to check his reflection. For the first time, he sees his transformed self in the mirror. After class, he is approached by his brother and sister, wondering what he did to change so drastically, calling him a loser. But there is suddenly a limousine that stops. The girl he saved from the thugs steps out, searching for him. He wonders who she is,